Hello, book carriers. Welcome back. We're here for a new episode this week, and it's one of our favorite type of episodes. We're here for a book yap episode. So we're going to talk about what we're up to, what we're all doing, maybe some hot book talk type topics. And so we are so happy and ready to go today. So, of course, I'm joined by the beautiful Cassandra and Angela. Cassandra, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm so excited because I did want to tell y'all, finally, season 2 of Severance is over. So the last
so we can
episode
binge.
Yes, you may now binge happily.
Okay.
Because it's over. It ended like a week ago, and I've been like itching to tell you guys, but I wanted to let y'all know. It is officially Severance time, and I need to have y'all watch it and let me know how wonderful you think it is, because I'm sure you're going to love it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Adding it to the to listen to. I'm so excited.
To be watched.
To be watched.
TBW.
TV, yeah, to be watched. Yes.
Yeah, and we can binge it. That's the most exciting part. We don't have to wait for every episode.
I am so jealous. Like, I wish, this is why I want you to watch it, because I just like wish I could go back and watch it as if I have never watched it before. You know how they always say that. I wish I could watch it again for the first time.
Yeah.
Oh man, especially having both seasons out. You guys are so lucky. I had to wait so long between season 1 and season 2. But yeah, excited for you guys.
I'm so excited. Like, you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of when Glee was out. And like, I don't know if both of you watched Glee like while it was on live. And then like, yes. But I was late to the party, and then y'all like showed me a website that you could go to and like watch them. This was before streaming, right? And so like I had to go like to this shady website. I'm sure like crashed my computer. It was like LimeWire, but for whatever. Anyway, and I remember I just like binged it like all night long. Showed up to school, like I had bags under my eyes. I was like, I finished season 3 or whatever. And I just remember Cassandra was like, I'm so jealous that you're getting to experience it for the first time again, or for the first time. So anyway, that's what that reminds me of. But okay, I'm excited.
Yeah. That's so funny. That's an unlocked memory, Becca, what you mentioned about having to look up episodes on a shady streaming website.
Oh yeah. I was so terrified it was gonna like crash my computer and my mom was going to like murder me. I remember that fear of 3 a.m, like selecting the next episode, be like, please don't let this be the one that makes my computer crash.
Yeah.
That is so funny.
And then like the glory that you would feel when it would work and it wouldn't buffer or whatever. Oh,
yes.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Sketchy links.
Good times. Good times. But
that's so funny.
Angela, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Yeah. I don't have much of an update. My life is pretty boring. Just kind of being a mom, being a part-time worker and part-time podcaster. And so I'm excited. I think the last thing I talked about in our last book yap was trying to find an on-screen Draco Malfoy. So
yes, how's the search?
Yeah, I started watching The Diplomat because on Netflix, and that was suggested, and I am into it. I still don't see the Hermione-esque just yet, but I think it's building, and I'm curious to see more of it. So it finally got my interest. I think it took maybe 3 or 4 episodes for me to like be hooked. So yeah, I would totally recommend The Diplomat on Netflix. But I will still keep y'all updated if it warrants or if it qualifies for a good on-screen Draco Malfoy. But still on the hunt.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear if it ends up turning into that. Yeah, it's like hard for me to think of like anything like political government like aligning with that, but at the same time, like Manacled was pretty like political too, you know. So I don't know, maybe there are probably some ties there.
Yeah, so. I mean, the relationship, there's like some, and Manacled, I mean, we talked about it. Shout out to our Manacled episode. Listeners can listen to it. But it's a little bit of a toxic relationship. And so there's some toxicity to the relationship. And it's interesting because these characters are older. They're probably in their 40s. And so it's interesting a change of pace too, because most of the books we also read are young adult, or like the characters are early 20s. So interesting to also watch something with older characters.
That is interesting. Are we getting old? I think that means we're getting old.
I think so. I mean,
do
we.
Oh,
think so,
no.
yeah. But we're aging beautifully.
Yeah.
And wisely.
Even though that comment on our YouTube short said we looked like 40-year-olds, which
I know.
I was very offended.
By the way, shout out to that hater, because I have been really upping my skincare game. So thank you for that. In retrospect, I thank you. So, now I look like I'm in my 20s. So
There you
thank
go.
you.
Gosh.
Thank you. Well, I have been rewatching Bridgerton, which if y'all have listened to any of our episodes, you know that I'm like a habitual rewatcher. Like if I find a show, I got sick last week, and so I was in bed for a couple days and just decided, I need something comfortable. I just decided to rewatch Bridgerton, and that was beautiful. Made it through
Did you start from season 1?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you cannot skip Daphne and Simon. They are my favorite. You don't like them?
I mean, not that I don't like them. They're great. It's a wonderful first season. I think my faves is season 2.
Oh, you would be an Anthony.
Oh yeah.
Anthony type, yeah.
So like I yearn. The yearning is there.
I yearn. There's not a place in the world.
Yeah.
Yes. But she's not my favorite type of lead, like female character. Like I've voiced before, I like the softer, a little bit of a damsel, but still really strong, like Daphne.
Yeah,
and then
she's like a subtle strong, like subtle, quiet, but subtly also strong.
Yes,
like, has her little bite back moment.
Yeah. So, but Daphne and Simon just to me are just like unmatched. So I'm excited now that Severance is out, because now I have something new to watch. I've also been thinking about watching White Lotus. I don't know if y'all have. Cassandra's about to have a heart attack for our audio only listeners.
Why haven't I talked about White Lotus yet? Yes, you need to watch White Lotus. It's like,
okay.
It's like, you remember how we talked about dark academia? It's not dark academia, but how dark academia has the whole idea of like it's a critique on something. That's White Lotus. It's like it's so good, because it's like there's a lot of like bad stuff that happens, but you have to see it as like this is a critique of something. So it's like it's got that darker edge to it.
Okay.
So I've seen season 1 and season 2, but your girl does not have HBO Max right now. It is too expensive. So I haven't seen season 3 yet. I've seen the first episode, which was good, and it's got a lot of good actors. It's got Daddy Malfoy in it.
Oh, it does.
Yes.
Man, I walked right into that one.
You did. My Lucius Malfoy. He is in it. And so,
oh my God.
Yes.
Does he have beautiful hair in this?
He's not. He doesn't have beautiful hair. He's just your average Joe, but still wonderful. Would still. Just gonna leave it there.
So for any new, just to explain this a little bit for any new listeners, Cassandra has a little bit of a hair fetish and comments on hair and hair scenes and all of the books that we read, and we love it. So we love it.
And so that's, Lucius Malfoy is like, that's my guy, because he's beautiful in the movies. And you know what I heard? Because he's in White Lotus, they actually asked him about like Lucius Malfoy and his like past projects and stuff. And he recently did an interview on, I don't know how recent it is, but he actually said, he talked about how like he originally wasn't supposed to have that hair. He originally wasn't supposed to have that wardrobe. He basically like built that because he was like, I think he should have a wig. Yeah, no, I think he should dress like he's like a higher up. Like I think he should have like a fancy cape. And so he walked in with like a drape and a really cheap looking wig or something. And he was like, what do you think? And Christopher Columbus was like, all right, let's go. So like he was like, did you see the sketches of like the original costume idea? And he was like, I did, but I think
mine's better.
Yeah, and like look at him. He's amazing. Yeah. So if it wasn't for him, Lucius wouldn't have looked that way. So I have a big appreciation for him.
Yeah. We hear that. We see that. Yeah, that was some passion. That was a passionate answer. Well, Well, Cassandra, I will send you my HBO Max login because you won't, because like you won't even be the only person using it. I think I have like 5 people. Like HBO, if you're listening to this, I don't do this.
HBO.
I don't
tell
do this.
HBO.
No,
we
but
aren't
like
gonna do that.
no, we were at lunch with my sister
for
on
legal
Sat-
for legal purposes.
For legal purposes, we are kidding. But and for legal purposes, this next explanation is also a joke. But we were at lunch with my sister, and they were talking about White Lotus, which is what was making me think I wanted to watch it. One of the reasons. But that's what, like, her husband, shout out to my brother-in-law Matt, because he's like, by the way, don't cancel HBO Max because we're using it right now. I was like, oh, I forgot y'all like used my account. So yeah. So you won't be the only person on there, so it's fine. I'll send you the login so you can watch it. But I heard that this recent episode that the creator of White Lotus is like basing the characters off of people from Southern Charm, which is a reality show that I've watched. I think it's like they just finished their 12th season. I've literally watched it like from the beginning. Like that is one reality show like I will not stop watching. And it's like based off these kind of like Charleston socialites, and they're saying that like the characters are based off of people from Southern Charm. So anyway, that's one of the reasons I want to watch it too.
It's like each season has its own like commentary and things like that. Yeah. So that's so exciting. Now HBO Max, like we did plan on getting it for the summer, so like I was fully ready to wait for it. And you know what, HBO Max, we're gonna wait for it. We're not sharing our passwords. I'm gonna wait. Yeah. And I have to say I haven't said his name, but Jason Isaacs, that's him. That's our Daddy Malfoy. So shout out to Jason Isaacs. The first episode, I was hooked.
Okay.
So that's what we're watching.
Yeah. So that's what we're kind of up to. That's what we're watching when we're not reading or mommying or working in y'all's case. So but one of the things we wanted to talk a little bit on this Book Yap episode is what's going on over on BookTok and a little bit of controversy news. So I don't know if y'all are familiar with Larry. She is a TikTok book reviewer. No.
Nope. Is that her legit name? Larry, or is it just her TikTok name account?
I don't know. Maybe it's like Larissa, but she goes by Larry. But yeah, so she covers all books. She mostly like does like fantasy and romance. And so I followed her for a long time, but recently she's kind of started this whole controversy because she has an author that she really loves. Her author's name is Rena Kent. And she loves her book. She even has a tattoo like with a quote from one of Rena Kent's books, like, and Rena Kent just released a new book. And so Larry's been talking about like, it's like her most anticipated read of the year. Well, she got it, and then she made a video about it, and it wasn't a very nice review. It was a little, I wouldn't say nice. It was just negative. She didn't like it. She ended up DNFing it. She made her video about it, and then Rena Kent unfollowed her. And then Larry made a video kind of in response to it, like saying like pretty much like I'm a clown like for getting this tattoo, and like she made it like as a joke, like very dramatic. And anyway, you'll have to go look at it on her page. So it sparked this whole controversy of what is the right way to do any sort of reviews, or can you have an account that gives reviews of books while the authors are in that same space? So yeah, so what is y'all's opinion on that?
Yeah, because I think it's really important to also, in this case in particular, to have the context. So if you don't have the context, make sure you do, so that way you kind of know what we're talking about. Also, so it's Larry on TikTok, right?
Yeah.
And she's got a little critique. I think she was trying to, like, she just was giving her honest thoughts, and that's okay. I feel like. So like, did the author unfollow her? Is that what it was?
Yeah, so the author has followed her, and obviously like she's reviewed a lot of the author's work and praised it. highly, but then whenever she
Yeah.
made that review, she went and unfollowed her.
Yeah, she unfollowed her, and that's okay too. Like, you know, if the author doesn't like what she's saying about her, I don't think she was trying to be too personal. Like, she said she was a lover of her stuff, and she even said, you know, if you enjoy the book, that's perfectly okay. That's great. Love that for you. You know, we're all going to have different tastes, and we're all going to have different opinions, and we should be allowed to share those opinions for sure. But I do think it's hard, especially when you're that close with an author. Yeah, there's like it's like a slippery slope that you could go down there.
Yes. And it makes me wonder, like, I don't know if Rena Kemp sent her the book or if Larry, you know, bought it on her own or like had already pre-ordered it. I don't know that fact, but I would be interested to know, because it's like, because authors do that. They send books to reviewers, and I've seen some where they do that, and the social media influencer or whoever is honest with their opinion. But for the most part, you know, and I have an example, but I'll save that for in a minute. But
Okay.
Angela, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think this is it's a hard situation. But I guess kind of at the core of this is like, is it okay to be honest with your reviews, even when when you don't like a book, which is going to happen, right? Like, we're going to read books, and it's happened on this podcast too, right? Where it's not our favorite. We don't enjoy it. We kind of have to force ourselves to continue to read, because I mean, we've talked about this before, like, reading is so subjective, and that's okay, right? That's why reading is such an enjoyable hobby, because we all have different life experiences. We all have different views and likes, dislikes, interests, and it's comes with the territory, right? So yeah, I think it's super tricky, but hearing what Larry had to say, she was really, what's the word?
Brutally
Outspoken.
honest?
Yeah, like brutally honest, like very
She was
direct.
blunt.
Yes, exactly. Which is her style, and that's probably who she is authentically, and that's good. I'm glad she feels comfortable and she's able to share like so authentically. And yes, I imagine as an author, it would be really hard to hear a negative review, but I guess it comes with the territory, I guess.
Right. I mean, it's an art. And I think that, like, for me personally, I don't have very thick skin. I don't take criticism well. I never have. And I know that. And so this space is already a little scary for me, because we get comments and things already of people being critical of what we're saying and thinking. I mean, we talked about this before we even started to record tonight, that I immediately just want to like hop on and be like, back, because I can't handle criticism. But I'm also, I write. I mean, that's my passion, and that's what's kept me from, I think, really embracing it and going forward, because the idea of sending it to editors, sending it to this and that, getting it torn apart, getting told that it's not good enough, to then get past all of that to go to the public and still have people rip it apart. That's just something I don't know if I can handle. So I think that if you are going to go into that space, you have to know that, like, this is an art. Some people are going to love it and some people aren't. But for me, the way I look at this is like, for an author who has had so much support from this influencer, she has been nothing but usually great. Wouldn't you rather her be honest in her reviews? Because if she did go on and just either didn't review it or made a negative review, then it would discount all of the praise that she gave you before. Like, it's what she says is her truth, and you're going to now ruin this relationship because she didn't like this one certain book that she wrote. And it's, to me, I was just like, if you can't handle it and you can't handle criticism, then don't be in the arena. And so, in my opinion, I don't think that, like, Larry did anything wrong. Sometimes the way she delivers her criticism of books whenever she doesn't like something, to me, is, that's not the way that I like speak usually, so it's a little jarring to me. But I also, like, I take her reviews kind of seriously, because this is all she does. I mean, this is her job. She is a reading influencer, a book influencer, and she has the time to kind of do the research if it's worth reading or not. So I can see, like, how she holds a lot of weight, and as an author now that their work is getting torn apart by this person who has a lot of influence, I can see where that would be really frustrating. But at the same time, like, if you're gonna be an author, like, you have to know that that's gonna happen.
Right. And I think it's like it goes both ways kind of thing, because it's like, well, she's an author, but she's also a creator. you know, Larry's a creator, so she has to be able to, you know, I'm going to be honest and, you know, accept that not everybody's going to like her opinion. So yes, if you have the opinion, you know, you can't just expect, you can't have that expectation that like she has to keep following you. That's the whole thing with like social media, you know, and TikTok. Where were we like years ago? We didn't have TikTok. We didn't have this like social media influence on us reading books. And so especially now an author has a lot to go, I guess, to work with right now. Like, you know, you get the critiques from your publisher, but also you hear that immediate feedback, and it can be rough. I'm glad we watched the TikToks because the way that she handled or at least I don't know what else she said, but at least that video, she said she was sorry, you know, she like with the song, I'm sorry. And then she seems like she handled it pretty gracefully. She's like, I'm sorry. Yes, I'm a fan of yours. And this is all that I loved about you. I'm sorry for my honesty. I'm sorry if it offended you. It's a tricky subject. It's tough.
Yeah. So I have a comment, and this will be a little preview for next week's episode. So I'm going to entice our listeners to listen to it. But I was researching for our next episode where we're going to talk about Freida McFadden, and I listened to a podcast that she was a guest on, and she talked about receiving negative reviews. And I really enjoyed her take because she was talking about how she reads them because she wants to get better as a writer. She wants to hear the opinions of people, like what they liked, what they didn't like, and she wants to take that feedback to her writing and to improve her writing. And she said that was really helpful, especially early on in her career. She talks about like you can tell in her writing journey, like it's just gotten a million times better. And so I enjoyed seeing that perspective. And the other perspective that she presented was also you just kind of have to laugh. You just kind of have to take it as, you know, kind of let it roll off of you and just kind of laugh with like the negative reviews and not taking them personally. And so I enjoyed that perspective.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it, is like you just kind of have to laugh. And it's like, hey, if it didn't land on them, if they didn't get it, they didn't get it. Or what can I take from this to help improve my craft and help improve what I'm doing?
Right.
You know, because you are writing for your audience too. You know, don't completely change your writing style and change everything about you, but hey, maybe there's some good feedback in there. For sure. Yeah.
I think it was a total missed opportunity on the author's part. I think this is an influencer that has read so much of your work, and she could have taken the opportunity to be like, make a video in response or comment or something and just say, you know, like, oh no, like I hate that you did, but thank you so much for this feedback. I will keep that in mind for the next one, but like, please keep reading my books. You know, like she could have taken that as like an opportunity to show, you know, that she is open to the criticism and to still thank her for all that she has done for, because I mean, she has so much influence. How many people do you think picked up some of her books because of Larry that wouldn't have, you know? And so it's like, you know, don't like look the gift horse in the mouth or whatever, you know? It's like, or don't bite the hand that feeds you, you know? I mean, I think it was a total missed opportunity on her part where she could have used that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's just so hard because it's like I go back and forth because I'm like, but at the same time, the author, like, it's just so hard to be an author.
Like, right. So and I mean, and it's totally like, you know, if they are looking at their For You page and they're like, every video that they're seeing maybe is negative and they just can't, like, for their mental health, they need to not follow anybody who's going to make any negative content about them, then like protect yourself, you know? And I think somebody was made a video in response to Larry saying, like, this is so funny coming from the creator that, like, if she sees any people, like, criticizing her as an influencer, like, she unfollows them. Which, you know, at the same time, it's like, that's different, though. Like, an influencer is an influencer. You don't like their content on your page, so you unfollow them. Whereas an author relationship, I feel like that's different. I don't know. I think that it's lower stakes to unfollow an influencer as opposed to like an author.
Well, I think it was pretty brave of her to have that honest feedback. And it kind of like, I'm not saying like, I'm not taking a side here, but I do respect that because it is so difficult to like, to review something and give it honest, just straight up honest feedback. And without being, yes, like she was brutal in her remarks and stuff, but I think those are things that we've said about books that we've read recently. Like we've said kind of those exact things, maybe not like in her exact words, but we have made critiques about that. About like hearing the same thing over and over again, and certain characters are just not giving enough, you know? So that's just like, it's just honest. And it makes me kind of like want to, you know, actually like look at some of the reviews that she has. And, you know, because there's so much, even, okay, so we could talk about like makeup influencers and things like that, you know, are they really into that brand, or are they just getting paid to be into that brand?
Right.
How do we know we can really trust you if you're just constantly all the time just saying, giving good reviews?
Right.
You know, basically the question is, how do we have that sweet balance of being honest and respectful without having to worry about a relationship with an author, or I don't know, you know what I mean? I don't know. Is that making sense?
Yes. I mean, an author, and also how do we, you know, it's scary to be on the opposite side of like fandoms.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we felt that some with the Onyx Storm. You know, we didn't completely love that. Y'all, we were, to our listeners, we were so nervous to get on here and say that we didn't completely love it. And, you know, it's scary to have that, but it's also, like you said, like we have to be authentic. If we come on here and say this book was 5 stars and this book was 5 stars because we're afraid of hurting an author's or another person's opinion, hurting their feelings or riling them up, well, this is art. This is going to be subjective. And I think that, like Cassandra, I think you hit the nail on the head. As long as there is respect behind the opinion, then I think that it's totally valid and it's okay.
Yeah.
And I think everybody's going to have different tastes for everything, any type of art. And that's what makes it up for discussion. If everything that everybody produced was everybody's cup of tea, then there wouldn't be much to discuss. You know, it just is what it is. And people just need to calm down about everything. Everybody just needs to calm down about everything.
Like the world just needs to take a big, deep breath.
Yes.
You know?
We need a kumbaya circle.
Yes. Like everybody just needs to calm down. Like it's not that serious, you know, and it's okay.
Yeah. And I liked, again, this is like the first time I've really like seen Larry, and I kind of liked that she was the same. And like the way I always try to find something good about a book and something that I like about a book. And she included those things that she liked. I don't know, like exactly, like maybe that was a diss because I haven't read the book, but she's like, yeah, this is what I liked. And that was it. And hey, she's giving her honest truth. She's giving you the good, the bad, the good. And she's letting you as the audience know, hey, it's okay if you love this. It's okay if we don't agree.
Yes.
I think she handled it gracefully enough.
I think you would enjoy her content. I think she does a lot of content. I don't always agree with her reviews. Like she is like,
okay.
And that's okay. But that didn't make me ever like unfollow her or anything. I mean, it just, you know, she does like, she really enjoys dark romance, and like she loved Onyx Storm. Like I mean, I think she made like 7 videos about like her book hangover after she finished that. So, I mean, but then there are others that she absolutely loved that I love too. And so when she posts videos about that, I'm like, yes, like exactly, you know, so she's a fun person to follow and stuff. And I think that just dismissing her completely is, you know, just opinion is an opinion. And if she didn't get on and give her opinions, she wouldn't be a very fun person to follow to begin with. So just because you don't agree with her doesn't mean that you need to get all up in arms or whatever. So
yeah.
Anyway.
I think you can pick up on like who's being fake or inauthentic, and it just comes across, and one way or another, like your followers are going to pick up on that. But yeah, to answer that question of like, how do you find a balance of like be still critiquing or reviewing art, even though it's so subjective? I think another piece to that is also just bringing in your personality. Like, this is what I personally enjoy. I personally enjoy when characters do this. I personally like, you know, and me personally speaking as Angela, I personally like longer books, like 600 plus pages, just because of the character development, because I like the complexity. So like shorter books I struggle with because it's lacking that complexity. And somebody's completely opposite of me, I'm sure. Like they can't stand like super long books. So anyways, all that to say, like, I think understanding that it's subjective and that people have different likes, and maybe bringing that into your reviews can help to keep it kind of respectful, maybe.
Yes. Yeah, no, that's a great point. Yeah, there's I'm currently trying to read The Rose Bargain, which when I started to see it, like I think one influencer that I follow, and I follow her mostly on YouTube, but she posted that it was like her favorite read so far this year. And I was like, and my daughter's name is Rose. The book itself is beautiful. I have to grab it for our visual listeners. But like the cover is beautiful.
Oh, that is
like,
beautiful.
The inside.
Ooh,
Like this is like, if I could like be a book, this is exactly what I would look like.
Yeah.
I mean, it's apparently it's a mixture between The Selection, which was my all-time favorite series like in high school, and The Cruel Prince, and anyway.
So it's romantasy?
Yes. And so I was like super excited about it. And y'all, this has been a struggle. And so many influencers that I follow that I know would not like this book were posting videos, but then in the hashtags it would say ad. And again, for anybody who loves this book, that's completely like, that's great for you. But for me, like this is falling really flat. The characters are not developing. They're expecting you to feel things for characters that I don't know enough about to feel anything for. It's just not been, this has not been good. And the fact that I think it just ties into our point that like, but people are getting paid to review this and they're giving it like 5 stars when I know these like influencers and their like level that they expect from books. And no, they would not, I think, give it if it wasn't an ad.
That is so interesting. It's
But
like ethically wrong at this point.
Yes. But it's like, it was like Cassandra's point about like a makeup influencer, you know, they get sent product from a brand to do a video to cover it and they're going to make it as positive as they can.
I do appreciate when influencers, when they're like, oh, I tried like this mascara and it was absolutely horrible and I'm not going to mention it and I'm not going to talk about it. Like,
Right.
And I hope that's true and it feels true in those moments. And I appreciate seeing that. So some people out there do honest reviews. So I have a follow-up question.
Yeah.
So I know we're talking about like content creator and author kind of the relationship. So what do y'all think about, we've also experienced this a little bit. I think Becca, you mentioned it as well. Whenever other creators review something, let's say a creator reviews something that you absolutely loved, but they hated it. And people, and you see it in the comments too, like people are, I think, offended. People get offended when other people don't like what somebody loved. So does that make sense, what I just said?
Yeah.
So I guess my question is like, why do y'all think people get so up in arms and angry and they have to comment something whenever they hear that somebody didn't love what they loved? Why do y'all think it? Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna turn that back around on you, Angela. If you saw a video of somebody completely tearing Manacled apart, does it not give you some sort of like reaction in your heart?
Okay, what I've processed so far is like when it feels like other people don't like what I like I wonder if it brings up this sense of like my likes aren't good enough, or my likes, there's something wrong with my likes, or something wrong with how I read it, or maybe I'm not seeing something that they're seeing. And I wonder if it makes people feel a little vulnerable, and that's why they have to like jump in and like defend their views and their likes.
Yeah, I think the feelings are definitely valid. It's like, well, then what is the action that comes from the feelings? Do you then feel like, the action would be okay, now I'm going to make a comment because no, I disagree with a passion, right? It's just like, it just makes me think of like when me being so into Lucius Malfoy, and like there's a world out there where there's a lot of people that are into it too. We are going to have different opinions. And for those people that don't like it, there's some that do. And it just goes back to that. So the feelings are valid. Yes, it's okay to feel offended and vulnerable, definitely. Then what do you do with that? Do you go and follow somebody? Do you go write a mean comment? What are you gonna do? Right? I think that's kind of the point where it gets like, ooh. Because I don't see myself just like going to somebody's account and being like, I can't believe you hated this book. I loved it, or something like that. I don't see myself doing that.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely okay to feel like a little attacked and feel a little vulnerable, for sure.
Yeah. When I think about like keeping 13 and stuff, and like I think some of the negative comments that I've seen on it are like, how can you read stuff about teenagers? Like that's weird. And that does make me think and look a little like interesting, where I'm like, is this not okay? Like, you know, so I do have to second guess myself.
Yes. Makes you
Like,
second guess yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, second guess, you know, like, am I okay? Like, is this not, you know? And then there are other parts of me, and I think that comes from like you probably already thought that, but you decided that it wasn't like a deal breaker, like for me. Like, but then I think of like a book that I am 100% confident is like a beautiful masterpiece, and somebody wants to go and like tear it apart or say something rude or whatever. And I mean, my honest first thought is like, well, you're just not deep enough to get it then. Like, then that's, you know, then that's like, that's your own fault. I mean, I can't make you smart enough to understand the book, you know? So it's like, I think it just depends on like what they're critiquing.
So Becca,
and how they're critiquing it.
You would be one of those people. They're like leaving those comments.
No, I would never in a million years comment like something like that. Like that would be an inner thought. Okay. But I would understand where people, if they did comment, would say that. When I think about two critiques of like two of my favorite books from two different genres or two different, you know, levels of writing, right? And there's like Pride and Prejudice. If somebody went and like tried to attack that, I would be like, okay, you just don't understand it. Like you're not smart enough to read this book, I guess. Like I don't know what to tell you. But then somebody going and saying like Binding 13 felt weird to them because it's about teenagers. Like that brings up a different type of like, I don't know, reaction, a different type of defense. So it just depends on the book and what the critique is. But I could see where, you know, people would have that reaction. The fact that they actually go and write a comment and take energy to actually do it, that surprises me even to this day. I'm just like, who has the time and the energy to write stuff like that?
I know.
But
some people do. Some people have a lot of time on their hands.
We know. Yes.
Well, I think I think we're in the minority of like, we would not go and like comment a negative comment on something. I think a majority of people feel like they're just thinking of it as like, this is my opinion, you know. So I don't know, it's tough.
It's just crazy to me how free people feel they are to give their opinions. And I guess, I mean, that's a whole different topic in and of itself. I guess we are more from the generation, or my mom always raised me like, anything you put on the internet is for forever. Mm-hmm. And you don't know what the other person on the other side of the keyboard is going through. Mm-hmm. And like, you don't ever want to be the cause of making somebody spiral. I mean, you can have opinions and be respectful. And I feel like that's just lost on today's times, especially in the social media space. And so it's like, well, are they giving an opinion in a respectful way? Well, that's not going to have the same reaction, my reaction to defend, as somebody who may be giving like a negative opinion or like a review, but in a respectful way. Like I would respect that more.
Yeah. I think what I like about doing this podcast with you guys is the fact that we have different opinions. And it's interesting too, because like I'll have an opinion and I will love something and y'all will be like, no, I hated it. I did not like that. And that's okay. But here's why I love it. And then I'll just like passionately tell you why I love it. And so I think it's good. I think it's good to have this. Now, if I was like Larry, where it's like I'm a standalone, there wouldn't be that like opposite, opposite, getting to hear that perspective. So I'm glad that we are who we are and we're doing this together, because it's like, even though maybe I completely dislike something and you guys enjoy it, I get to hear that perspective like immediately. And so I like that. I enjoy that.
Yeah, it's going to be rare, like for our listeners, that you're going to hear us talk about a book or a topic and we all 100%, and we all 100%, we probably will never have the exact same opinion. But also, if we do like our Quicksilver review, if you haven't listened to that, you probably should, because it was great. None of us really loved the book, but we were able to still find things to say like, but they did this well. And they did. So it's like, even if one of us isn't coming from that point of view, we still try to incorporate it for the listeners that might feel that way. And we want to respect that. And so you can have differing opinions and be respectful.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
Good discussion, ladies.
Yes. Anything else that we want to discuss on that topic?
No. I think it's a tough world. going with this. It's a tough world.
You're gonna break out into song. What is that song? It's
Not
a cruel world.
It's a mad world.
Oh, it's a mad world. Oh my god.
Yeah. So no, it's just like I just have mad respect for authors that put themselves out there with their craft. Mad respect. And then mad respect for those people that put themselves out there just like openly, honestly, just giving you who they are and their thoughts. Like I said, it's a tough world and it's hard. You cannot please everybody.
Right.
And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the sooner people, yes, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, the sooner people realize that you can't please everybody, I think the more like success you will have.
Yes. Yeah. And shout out to Angela for having that perspective, because if it was up to Cassandra and I, every time we would get like a negative comment, we'd be like, take the video down or take it down. We don't want to upset anybody or hurt anybody's feelings. And Angela's like, it's okay. Like we said it in a nice way. Like it's going to be okay. So thank you, Angela, for keeping us going, because it's always like, I think that. And then within like 30 minutes, I'm like, no, you're right. Like it's okay. So you talk me at least personally off the ledge a lot. So thank you for that.
Yeah. It's a work in progress for all of us. Because
Yes.
I'm sure eventually I will feel the exact same way.
Yes. Well, thank you guys so much for a great discussion. And for everybody listening, we thank you so much for tuning in, and be sure to follow us on all of our socials. We are on Threads, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. So you can find us all there on socials. And of course, you can listen to us on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple. And be sure to like, comment, and we see them all. We love them all. We are loving all the interactions and follows. It means the world to us. So thank you so much. And we'll see y'all next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of The Book Carriers.
We hope you enjoyed diving into this week's read with us as much as we did.
Thank you so much for joining us on this literary adventure. Your support means the world to us.
If you loved today's episode, don't forget to follow us on social media for updates, behind-the-scene fun, and more bookish content.
And if you're feeling generous, please rate our podcast 5 stars. Your reviews help other book carriers find us and join our growing community.
Remember, we'll be back with a new episode every week, catching up on our latest read.
Until next time, keep reading and living those amazing stories.
Bye for now.
Happy reading.
I've been called to the past.